of dreamscapes and nightmares. True stories where the supernatural beings come into my dream. So you decide as to whether they are scary enough.
A very good evening and welcome back to episode 3. And in this episode, I'll feature 2 more stories. Well, hopefully you will capture your imagination. I hope you're ready. So let's go on with the first story. Well, for the first story, it took place at SPD, the same prison that was featured in episode 2. This time round, it's a bit different because compared to the last story, which took place at Sector 3, this time round it happened in Sector 4. So as per normal, it was the graveyard shift, and I was deployed to perform the 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. shift. So as per normal, we left base at about 1:30 to go over to SPD to take over from the previous team who was deployed there earlier. Upon our arrival, we took over from the previous team, and then I made my way to the subgate. So I was walking over to the subgate and decided to go to Sector 3 first to patrol the perimeter of that area. So after reporting to the warden on duty at subgate, I went over to Sector 3 and started my patrol together with my K9 partner. So we were walking, patrolling, and the night was quite breezy. We were patrolling the perimeter of Sector 3, passing by our dog hut, and it took us a fairly good amount of time. It took us about 30-40 minutes to patrol Sector 3 to reach Sector 4. And in Sector 4, there is this post 9, and this post 9 is where officers were deployed on top of the post to give coverage, a bird's eye view coverage of the entire prison. And at the bottom of this post 9 is our little dog hut, which is a bit more smaller than the dog hut at Sector 3. So upon arrival at the dog hut at Sector 4, I made myself comfortable, and I rest with my K9 partner at the dog hut. Well, just to give a brief picture of what I see during that time. Well, okay, the prison is surrounded by very high fencing, and the opposite side of the fencing, the outside, there are jungles. Actually, there are jungles, very dense jungle. So in front of the Sector 4 dog hut is a very big tree, a huge tree. Okay, and at that point of time, it was about 3+ in the morning. Yep, and I felt a bit sleepy, a bit tired, so I decided to close my eyes. Proceeded to close my eyes, and after a while I fell asleep. Right, I fell asleep, and in my sleep, I dreamt that I was at the same place, in the same dog hut, with my dog, and with the big tree in front of me. Okay, everything was the same, but the only difference is that sitting on the tree in front of me in my dream is a female being, or what you call a Pontianak. She was like looking at me. She was like smiling, like with her big eyes and it's very difficult for me to describe it for you. Okay, she was looking at me, and that gave me a jolt. Actually, I got up from that sleep, and once I opened my eyes, the first thing that I see was that huge tree in front of me. Of course, I was very, very scared. I was very, very scared that I quickly got up, called out to my dog, and we made a fast one to the subgate. Okay, I walked really fast anyway. My dog was like running all over the place. So we made our way to the subgate, and once I reached there, I did not tell the warden what happened. But from then on, I decided to stay with the warden all the way till morning come. And that is the first story. Well, let me give you a picture of how the Pontianak looked like. Okay, she had long hair, big eyes, and she was grinning from ear to ear. Okay, and it was quite a windy night, so you can imagine the wind blowing her hair, and she was sitting on one of the branches, and she was actually swinging her legs, looking at me. So that is the only thing I can describe her. Scary enough, right? Well, then on to story number 2. The next story happened not at SPD or at Changi base, but this time around it happened at Choa Chu Kang base, which is our K9 HQ. And once again, it was the night shift, and police K9 buildings. I mean, there are 2 main buildings actually. One main building which housed the general office, and of course there is the second building which housed our locker rooms and our rest area. So no one likes to take their rest at this rest area or this locker room. Okay, and in this room we have all our lockers there, and there are 3 bunk beds. Okay, and the 3 bunk beds are located at the back. Okay, there's 2 doors. There's the front door and the back door. So the back door is where the 3 bunk beds were located at. Okay, and I believe I was the only one who likes to sleep at this particular restroom. Okay, to take my rest, because it's quiet, and even though there were a lot of stories connected to this room. But so I will always rest on this particular bed. Okay, this bed, whenever I rest on it, I will always face the back door. Okay, with my back facing the partition wall. So this particular night, when I was taking my rest, in my sleep, I dreamt that there's this little girl with her hair up in a ponytail. She was wearing a dress, and she was holding on to a doll. Okay, she looked as if that she's like 3, 4, 5 years old, around that age group, and she was looking at me. She was standing at the back door. Actually, she was standing at the back door at the corner. Okay, and I got up. I opened my eyes, and once I opened my eyes, the first thing I saw was the back door, but there was no one there. The second time, it happened again at that particular room, on that particular bed, while I was resting during the night shift. The same girl came into my dream. She was standing at the same position with the same dress on, with her hair up in a ponytail, holding on to a doll in her hands. And she was looking at me also. So, yeah, there was, I felt a bit weird, and I was not scared because she was not scary looking. Okay, so I asked a friend who can actually see all this, who has got a third eye, as to whether there's anything in that room, and he mentioned to me, yes, there is this little girl standing at the back, near to the door. And I asked this friend of mine, I mean, why don't you describe her to me? He said that she's young, she's wearing a dress, she's holding onto a doll, and her hair is tied up in a ponytail. But this friend of mine also told me that this little girl meant no harm actually. She's there, she will always be there, standing there, looking at people sleeping. And it's just too bad that I was the one sleeping on that particular bed every single night shift.
And those are the two stories for your listening pleasure. I do hope you are entertained, and do come back and check out episode 4 next week. So till then, I'm Ghost.